Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to see you and welcome again. This is, we are on week number, let's see if I don't get lost. Because remember now I have weeks with Vancouver Community College, weeks with University Canada West, and I believe we are on week 4 with UNLA in Mexico. And with week 4, today it's Wednesday, February 8th. Yes, I know. And remember, I need to get organized, otherwise this is too crazy between classes and everything, teaching, etc. So as I was saying before, we didn't have classes on Monday because it was a holiday. It's only today, Wednesday. And we will finish actually with all the topics for our first academic period next week, because the following week we have a quiz. I know, exactly in 10 days, we have a quiz. So make sure everyone, I know people are just arriving, you are connecting. Hello, everyone, please turn on your cameras. And today we're going to ask for a lot of your participation. And the quiz, remember, this is important. It's going to be February, Monday, 20th. For those of you who are not here in the first week when we established all the timing and all the different dates in which we were going to be working, it's going to be Monday, February 20th. So that means it's only this class, 2 more classes, Monday, Wednesday, and that's it. We need to start getting ready for our quiz. And today I will start explaining a little bit about the quiz, and I will go again about some of the homework assignments and things. So if you're just arriving, please make sure to turn on your cameras, and I will be actually taking attendance today because I've been reminded by the Director of Internationalization that if you are not here by 7:10, then it's an absence. And also you must be here by the end of the class. You must have your cameras on and everything to get your attendance. And remember, 40% of your grade is attendance. So I'm very, very happy to see you here. 20% of your grade is sending your notes. So please make sure you're taking your notes. And today it's only 1 week. It's only 1 day. So it's not going to be so difficult, so hard. And for those of you that just connected, I shall remind you, our quiz is taking place, Monday, February 20th. And I will explain today what our quiz is going to be like when I address also some things related to our homework assignment, etc. Now, the presentation I'm going to be using today is already in the platform, as well as this section for you to upload your notes. You can upload them right away after the class is finished if you'd like, so you don't forget. And also I will explain the assignment for tonight, okay? And I will make sure to explain all those things. So if you're okay with everything, I'm going to start sharing our presentation. Make sure to take notes, and if you have questions also, like we have done before, make sure to raise your hand or just interrupt me. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Just make sure you don't go ahead with any questions, hopefully. Okay, so today we're starting this week. We're starting with a new topic, and we'll only have 2 weeks. Well, 1 week and a half today and the next 2 days to talk about the theoretical background of leadership. Now, I will make sure to explain what our goals are. First, let me just make the acknowledgement because I'm teaching from Vancouver. And just like here in Vancouver, I acknowledge that I am situated in the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations, for which I am very grateful. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to be teaching this class to the world, in this case to Mexico, Brazil, and Iraq. So I really thank you all for joining me in this acknowledgement. Now, learning objective, please make sure this is clear. I'm going to start talking again about the homework assignments because once again, not a lot of people follow the instructions. And this is really something that worries me because I teach communications in my other class. So this is crazy. I cannot believe that we're having so many problems with communication because people are still just copy pasting things. And I thought I had already been very clear that that's not the objective of this class. This is a totally, completely different class from anything else you have done in the past. And I can understand that getting adjusted to a new way of doing assignments might be a little bit difficult. But this is going to be the last time that I explain what is expected from you guys. because most of your assignments seem like assignments that they're beautiful and wonderful and they're amazing, but they are not achieving the learning goal. And I'm going to explain again why I am always assigning all these type of homework assignments for you to do at home, and which are not copy paste. And most of you did copy paste, and that cannot be done again, because I'm going to have to start putting zeros, and just either you achieve it or you don't achieve it. So I hope you guys pay attention to today's instructions, because it's going to be honestly the last time I'm explaining this. We're going to then talk about why we have to study theories, because we have 3 days for theories. Today, we're going to begin with the trait area, which are the Grademan theory, which we already talked about in one of the previous classes before. We're going to recap and summarize very quickly. However, we're going to go to a whole variety of trait theories. Okay, we will have to cover behavioral and situational theories on Monday, next Monday, and the new leadership era and the leadership of the new century for Wednesday. So all these are going to be part of the quiz, but you need to make sure you understand that it's not about memorizing, it's about understanding. And that's exactly what I'm going to be explaining today before we actually begin with the class, okay? So if there's something that is not very clear, please ask, because if we ask questions, we are closer to reaching our goal. Again, I'm going to explain. What I said last time is that our assignment was to create a reflective timeline. And I made it very clear, not a chronological timeline. I said this several times. A chronological timeline is copy, paste, research, copy, paste, and etc. I believe 4 or 5 of the students that submitted their assignment, they did achieve their goal. They did achieve submitting a reflective timeline. What is a reflective timeline? In which they said, well, in this age, I believe this is the type of leadership that was needed, because as we covered in class, that was the type of society that existed, and that was the type of blah, blah, blah. And in this other part, I think blah, 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 blah. And in this other part, I also believe blah, blah. That is a reflective timeline. And only 3 or 4 people achieve that goal. So I'm trying also to explain this, because I remember I said this in class, where were people distracted, or I don't know exactly what happened. The word said reflective, and I made sure to ask, are the instructions clear? Yes. Are you sure? Some of you actually raised the hand, and you said, can I do it in this and this? And I said, yes, as long as you add your own personal ideas, story, feeling, analysis. It has to come from you. And I'm going to explain why this is a type of assignments I'm always going to keep assigning. And please just make it clear, because starting next week, if we don't achieve this goal, I'm sorry. And I'm going to explain the reason why. I'm going to explain why, okay? I already explained this chart, and I'm going to explain it again, because evidently it wasn't clear. So I apologize if I wasn't clear, but this is the last time I'm going to explain this. So please pay attention. The reason why we're taking the class the way we're taking it, it's because if you see the passive cone of learning, analyze it. It's not bad or it's not wrong. It's just that reading, hearing words, looking at pictures, watching a movie, watching your teacher giving a lecture, an exhibit, a demonstration, seeing this is passive. This is a learning that you will not remember unless we convert this knowledge into something active that involves your ideas, your feelings, your analysis, your personal touch. Now, I'm going to repeat it again. The reason why we're going to focus more on active ways of learning, it's because you are more likely to remember what you transform into active activities. For example, participating in discussions, giving a talk, doing a dramatic presentation, simulating a real experience, or doing a real thing. I am adding right now, and I'm telling you already, 50% of your quiz, you're going to create a video. And in that video, I don't want you to read, or I don't want you to say what already somebody else has done or has written down. It has to be a video, and I will give you the instructions next Monday because you will have a whole week to create it. This video has to come from you, from your heart, from your own analysis. And if you can see where it says active, it says class participation. That's why I'm always telling you, what do you think? And when you're quiet, your knowledge is passive. That's why 40% of your grade is being here and participating. We need to activate this knowledge. Reflective essays. I've told you before, a summary is not a reflective essay. A summary is copy-paste. And a summary develops in our students other types of skills. Maybe in junior high, it was important. Even in elementary school, middle school, it was important for us to develop those skills. But why would I have you, university students, write summaries when you are way beyond that? The skills that we're developing in you are different. They go beyond creating summaries. And a summary, copy paste. I'm not saying that you cannot do that, but that's not what we need. So when I ask you to create mind maps, to create videos, to work in teams, to do reflective essays, etc., even with the open notebook, it's not about the knowledge, passive knowledge. It's about making it active. That's why I keep you taking notes. Some of the notes that I'm seeing from the notes that you're uploading, I love some notes because sometimes some people write, even in Spanish, it doesn't matter. I just remember this, what the teacher mentioned reminded me of this situation that I went through. That's making the knowledge yours. That's converting the knowledge into something personal. And I know it's not easy. Yes, Rose, I'll go with you in a minute, okay? I'm almost finished. And I'm gonna go back. Don't worry. Now, I have already told you also that the methodology that I use in my teaching is based on the Center for Curriculum Design that was developed a few years ago. And this is based on the learning that our students of the 21st century need. Knowledge is one part, of course, it's very important. But I have already told you all the knowledge we share here, guys. I can give you the links to the readings, academic papers where I get the information from, and the books where I get the information from. So the information is there. Why would you need a teacher if the information is there? So the knowledge is important. But the knowledge only covers the basic research, the copy-paste of information, the writing of summaries, the writing of academic essays, and most importantly, this knowledge part. ChatGPT can do it for us. Why are we going to I'm going to actually share a conversation. We went to bed at 2:00 in the morning last weekend. Mr. Jenkins and I discussing how wonderful for me as a teacher ChatGPT is. Because he said, I'm still scared as a professor, as a teacher, that ChatGPT is going to be used for students to plagiarize work. And they're going to present work saying it's theirs. And I said, no, I'm sorry, but I don't agree with you. That's going to happen if we teachers keep asking our students to create, and I'm so sorry, I'm going to say this, basic assignments, the basic copy paste thing. I have never, even before ChatGPT, I never asked you for things that could be done by artificial intelligence. The beauty of artificial intelligence, guys, is that even Mr. Jenkins said this, and I'm going to quote Mr. Jenkins. He said, I understand what you're saying. So what you're saying is that ChatGPT is here to do the donkey work. And I said, yes, to do things that we used to do in the past, and that was the important thing for us to do. But now, because ChatGPT can help us with those time-consuming donkey activities, that requires from us to go way beyond and then actually use our brain and our connections to do what it says on the other column. Development of skills and character strengths along with the meta learning. What does that involve? It involves reflection, personalized, making all the knowledge yours, personal, making it unique. If I see something, but even if it's beautiful, it's just a copy paste. I'm sorry, it's beautiful, but we didn't achieve any learning here. Creating unique connections. How are we going to do this? And I'm going to make sure to explain this, guys. And I apologize if I maybe didn't explain it well enough in the previous time. I hope this time it's clear. And I'm going to give you the microphone, Rose, and all the other students too, because maybe it's okay to say, I honestly didn't understand. Now I'm understanding. So I rather to say, okay, fine. Now we're understanding. Critical thinking is the ability to clearly and logically consider and analyze information that is presented to us. That's why sometimes I tell you, create a T-chart, compare, make comparisons, advantages and disadvantages. Do you agree or disagree? Because that's helping you put your critical thinking at work. Exactly. Now, creative thinking is about using that knowledge and creating something new with your own unique experience, your own ideas. And that's what I didn't see in many of the assignments. I just saw copy paste or some kind of creative critical thinking, but I didn't really see. Some people did connect the analysis of the timeline with your beliefs, your ideas, and it's not about right or wrong, but it's about making it unique. Now, the great innovators, what's going to happen in the future, in the next decades, guys? And I'm telling you this because this is the only way you're going to be successful. You're going to have to create critical and creative thinking, and you're going to have to prove that you can go beyond what artificial intelligence is already doing. Otherwise, you're never going to get a job. We have to go beyond. Now, I'm going to go back. I'm not angry. I just get very passionate because I love teaching and I love giving my students the chances to go beyond. Imagine, I've told you, thank God, Mr. Jenkins and I, we talk about this. Thank God we're going to be dead in about 20 years. We're not going to see the rest that's coming, but you're going to be here. And I just want to make sure, guys, that you have what it takes. Now, Ross, you had a question. I'm going to be very happy to listen to your question. Go ahead, dear Ross. Ross, you had a question, I believe, but we cannot hear you. Hello? I think you're on mute. Yes, don't worry. Okay, something is happening with Ross' connection. Don't worry. We're going to give her some time to maybe ask. Oh, there you are. Okay, give it a try, Rose. Can you turn on your microphone? Yes. We cannot hear you. No, not yet. We'll come back to you, Ross. Okay. Anyone else has questions, doubts? Maybe it's not very clear. Maybe I'm not making myself clear. It's okay. But again, I am so sorry. This is not a normal regular class, but we are right now. ChatGPT was out 10 weeks ago. Why? I was already doing this before ChatGPT. So why are we going to do what ChatGPT can do for us? I don't know if this is making sense, guys. And the only reason why I'm insisting on this is because I know you can be better than this, because I need to challenge you to go beyond what you can do. Am I making myself clear? Please give me thumbs up. No hagan cara de regañados. Don't make the face that, oh my God, teacher is angry at us. I will never be angry at you. I just get very passionate because I love you guys and I'm really worried about the future that you will encounter. And I know you can do this. Is this clear, guys? Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So Rose, when she comes back, I'm going to interrupt maybe the class a little bit and I'm going to have her ask any questions. So any questions or doubts? Now, if I ever assign you a summary, because sometimes it might be necessary, or if I ever assign you something that ChatGPT can do, I'm going to teach you how to use ChatGPT in an ethical way and use it only as a base framework to actually use academic reference materials, but maybe using ChatGPT as a tool, as a help, not as a creator. Am I making myself clear? It's not bad. It's not a demon. It's nothing to be afraid of or anything. Embrace the change, embrace the new technology, but let's do it and let's learn how to do it. So I'll be very happy in the next academic period if you want. I'll teach you how to use ChatGPT as a starting point, and then from there, how do I make my point academically with basic foundations, with basic theories? How do I give power to my opinion? And I will show you how to do that. Is that okay? All right. Thank you, guys. So let's begin. Ready? Yes? Okay, let's do it then. Here we go. Okay. Because we're going to spend 3 days talking about theory, I need to make sure you understand why we study theories. Because I remember when I was in middle school, they would only make me memorize theories, but they never told me why I needed to memorize theories. And they told me to memorize the names of the creators of the theories and the years of the, they never explained to me why I needed to learn this. So if I don't understand why, I'm sorry, but I already forgot it. If I understand why, I may have more chances or opportunities to maybe making this knowledge mine. So here are the reasons why it's important to study theory and why we're going to study the basic theories of leadership. First of all, theory is going to provide concepts to the names of things that we observe, and that they create relationships between concepts, elements, and phenomena. And usually, this is important, a theory means somebody already proved through several experiments and several done it one over time and again and again and again. And they usually proved through several experiments that I can now affirm this, because with all my experiments, here's the proof. After 100, 1,000, 10,000 people interviewed, this is the trend that I found. So this is my hypothesis that I said is true, and here's the theory. Now, what is important to understand is, if I understand in which year this theory was approved or this theory was presented, it's also easy for me to understand the context of why this theory is a theory now. Because many of these theories, and this is very important, may not apply to our days. You know what I'm saying? Back then, it was proved, but the context was different. And the objective of last week's topic was understanding how different times required different leaders, because different times were just different and had different contexts. The same is going to happen with the analysis of theories. You don't have to say, yes, I agree with this theory, or no, I don't agree with this theory. You don't need to agree, because it's a theory. It's a fact. And somebody already proved that it's a fact. Now you can give your personal opinion and say, maybe nowadays this theory doesn't have a lot of, connection with reality, because blah, 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 blah. That you can share, of course. This theory, I believe, is still relevant, because nowadays, blah, 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 blah. There you go. So we need to understand that a theory is a way to explain a set of facts. Is this clear? Now, theories back then were proved. I already said, you can connect, but if you agree or you don't agree, it doesn't matter, because it was a theory and it was already proved one day. Now, because this happened such a long time ago, many of those circumstances in which these theories were proved, they may not be relevant anymore. So let's make those connections. Are we ready to begin? Yes, let's go. Okay, here we go. The first one we're going to talk about. This is what I expect you to do during these 3 classes. Use your critical thinking, yes, but also your creative thinking. If you can take a screenshot of this image, I would really appreciate it, even on your cell phone or with your computer. Yes. Keep in mind and have this, actually, if you can have it there next to your computer, that can help you. Because while I am giving you the lecture, your job is going to be to pose questions, consider perspective. What was happening in the world when this theory was taking place? Identify pros and cons. But I don't have to tell you to do this. You should know now that these are activities you can do while you're taking your notes, determine causes, predict effects, consider other alternatives. Oh, I see. So maybe this could have been different. Avoid assumptions, look for proof, and draw conclusions. So while I'm giving you a lecture, I don't expect you only to listen. I expect you also to take notes and transform some of the information that I'll be sharing with you. And most of the creative thinking is going to be done usually when you do your homework, your assignment, when you close the gap and connect in a reflection, in a personal situation. Got it? So instructions clear? Yes, very good. Let's do it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, I love it. So let's begin. The first part, I'm going to go back again. Let me just show you. These are the topics, okay, for the theories. Trade era, that's today. It's the great man theory we already talked about, and the trade theories. And actually, Christopher, you're ready, and I hope you don't get bored because you already did this. So you kind of already did a little bit of the assignment, but not really, but this is going to help you. So maybe you can actually help me teach this class, Christopher. Okay. Next week, we'll talk about behavioral, situational, and the following week, new leadership and new century. But in your case, Christopher, now because you have more information the rest of the students have, make the connections while you're taking notes, okay? Pros, cons, yes, no, alternatives, etc., etc. Okay, so here we go. Oh, by the way, I'm giving you the link to the academic paper. All this information, most of the information was taken for. This is very new, 2021. It's an academic paper that was published in a journal. So you can find all the theoretical information in that paper. I didn't make it up. I didn't invent it. I'm just trying to pass on the information to you, okay? All right. What are traits? Remember to take notes for key words, key phrases. In the 19th century, let's use our imagination and let's go back to the 1880, 1870, 1890 situation, what was happening in the world. Most of the research of leadership was focused on trying to understand what were the characteristics of those people who were called leaders or great men, as we saw in the last class. Let's identify what are their personality traits. What are they like? What are their personalities like? And these qualities of effective leaders were proved through several studies. And back in the day, and I will tell you the years, okay, this created the environment and the scenery for people to start researching formally what makes a leader. And remember, we're talking mostly about leaders. And as we said in the last class, as you can see in this little chart, traits are usually biological or physical. And most people used to believe you were born with them. Remember we said that? Okay, so let's begin in a very quick review for the great man theory. I'm going to give you a few seconds to read this again and take notes or connections or analysis or pros and cons about what this means for you and try to understand, okay? It was the 19th century, okay? Try to understand what was happening. Now, as I said in the last class, this was a wonderful theory because it was the first theory. So we have to thank all those beginning or all those starting points. Otherwise, we wouldn't be where we are right now. And either if right now this theory may not really have place anymore because now we understand many more things, back then it helped us understand so much for the first time. And as I already told you, it was just based on the fact that great men are born that way. I even told you, and even write it down if that helps you understand. Like Lady Gaga, born this way. Yes, I know. and it's not bad or wrong. But what they did is they analyzed, these are just great men. These are just great men born this way. And the focus that usually not women were included in this, it's not because they were being on purpose discriminatory, they were showing a discriminatory attitude. It was just the time in which we were living, in which most women did not have the opportunity to actually be shown or presented in leadership roles. So it wasn't that I'm discriminated women. It's just like we don't have a lot of women that are leaders in those days. Even Mary Curie, you have heard this story, right, about Mary Curie, that it was one of the few women who actually nobody could believe that she won a Nobel Prize. I know. And not only one, but two, right? In physics and chemistry, correct? Am I correct? Was it physics and chemistry? And somebody correct me if I'm not correct. Mary Curie won two Nobel Prizes. Is it in physics and chemistry? Am I right? Can you Google it, please? I want to make sure I'm not giving you chemistry. That's one, but she won another Nobel Prize. I just want to know what's the other Nobel Prize about.
Yeah, in physics.
Physics. Thank you so much, Christopher. So you see, not only a woman, but winning two Nobel Prizes in two different areas. So again, it's not that the man theory was on purpose discriminatory, but it's just the times that we were living. Okay. Now I'm going to add to the man theory. This was created by Thomas Carlyle. That's something new. You don't have to memorize it, but you have at least to know the name. Okay, Carlyle was usually the creator or the of great man's theory. And as it said there, it was just believed that they were born this way. And these characteristics they were born with, it's what enabled them to be such great leaders. And they shaped the pages of history, as they said, just because they were born this way as great men. And again, I'm not saying it's bad, it's wrong. It was just a way to explain back then, for the first time, trying to understand what characteristics were repeated or similar in leadership. Now, this is new, guys. This is new. Since great man's theory, because that was the first one, multiple psychologists have proposed many other leadership models. Okay, and that's what we're going to start talking about a little bit. One such theory is that great leaders can take on the traits necessary to guide their own followers later in life. And in other words, non-leaders become leaders with enough practice. So this was the change between the great man theory and the next theories that we're going to be talking about, okay? Trait theory of leadership also helps point out that certain people might adopt specific leadership styles in comparison to others. And this is very basic. The gray man theory is still important, even in big business, because there are still a lot of people that believe that huge, great CEOs, chief executive officers, or great directors, they were born with these characteristics in their personality. So we're going to leave it that with great men theory. Okay, I hope it's understood. And let's move on to now traits. And the traits, I really need you to pay attention because this can get a little tricky. Why? Because here, traits theory is actually one theory, but it can be actually explained by four other theories. So please bear with me because it can be a little complicated. Okay. Okay. What is the trait theory of leadership? The difference is that they assume, there's an assumption here, that personality factors and qualities are exactly what makes a good leader. Personality factors and qualities. But now, for the first time, this part of the theory told us that, where's the next one? There you go. I'm going to give you 1 minute in silence for you to read this and take notes, please, about the key words and phrases. Okay, I'm going to stop here for a little bit. For the first time, we see in psychology, because this is mostly done. These theories are mostly are mostly developed by psychologists. So that's important. Okay, that's a key element that is important. And the difference between different people, it's just based in their personality traits. And we're going to see some of those in a minute. This approach lists usually several traits that make up the personality of a person. Okay, and the combination of different traits is what makes us unique. Also, in business, this is something new. In business, people occasionally rely on trait theories. So this is important. Up to this day, many businesses, including most human resources departments, still use a lot of trait theory surveys. Okay, and actually for homework, we're going to do one ourselves, like if we were actually being evaluated by human resources. Okay, and I will explain to you why this is still so important for companies. And these are based on theories. Okay, so are you ready? Because we're going to talk about 4 theories, trait theories. I'm just going to give you a few more minutes because I see people taking notes of this. Okay, and we're going to be doing some exercises. Yes, Livia, go ahead.
Sure, just a question, just to know if I really understood it. So they list these characteristics and then a group characteristics and different groups, or not?
Here you go. No, you know what's going to help you? The next image where it has, I think we have a puzzle. Let me see. There you go. That's going to help you. That's going to help
Okay.
you. I'm going to explain this, and then I'm sure I'm going to answer your question, dear Livia. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
The great man theory in the past evolved into the trait theory. I'm going to go back. The great man theory said people are born with these characteristics, great characteristics that make them wonderful leaders. They're just born that way. But the trait theory argues that leaders can be born or made, and that these different traits and the mixture of these different traits is what makes every leader unique. So yes, I think you kind of got it, dear Livia. But the difference here is that trait theories now for the first time goes beyond, because actually 50 years happened between one theory and the other, an average of 40 to 50 years. And so they realized, well, how about people are not born this way, but they are also made this way. And I want you to situate yourself in the time in which these theories were developed. The psychological and sociological development of theories were also into how our personality is shaped by our context, our environment. Do you remember that when you probably were, remember in your old classes, maybe in elementary school or junior high, when you talk about the 30s, the 40s, the 20s, 1920, 1930, in which most psychologists were understanding the relevance of your context and environment in how people develop themselves, how people grow into, how you are created. And that's why I'm explaining to you the timing. Okay. And this, Livy, I hope this image of the puzzle can help you maybe make it more clear. What makes you the way you are? So it's a combination, a combination of traits. That's what this theory says. Okay. That's what this theory says, a combination. Okay. Now, the traits of successful leaders can be either inherited or acquired through training and practice. Now, this is just one set of theories, because when we talk next week about other theories, actually some other theories nowadays said whatever you were born with, it's irrelevant. It's absolutely how you were educated, how you were raised, how blah, 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 blah. That's just another theory, okay? But in these trait theories that we're going to analyze, there are 4, okay? The aim was to identify the right combination. So Livia, I think I'm answering also your question. The right combination of characteristics that make one effective leaders, and focus was on studying the mental, social, and physical traits of leaders. You know why, everyone, not only Livia? Because they thought, if we can understand what are the basic traits of these leaders we have, then that means I can take any person and create a leader from him. That was the idea, okay? I'm not saying it's bad, it's not wrong, but it's just how people used to think in the past, okay? Let's go with the first one, because we have almost a break in about 10 minutes, in about 5 minutes. This is the first one, and I'm going to stop. The 5-factor model of personality, or the Big 5. This was created in 1949. So you see the difference between the Big Man theory and all these theories. All these theories actually happened between 1937, 42, 47, 49, in those years, okay? And they were developed, actually, this is very important, almost in a parallel way, but we didn't have internet, remember? So there was no way all these researchers could be in touch. And sometimes they were actually trying to find different ways to explain the same thing, but they just found different ways to explain it, okay? So this theory, again, I'm going to go back again. Trait theories is made up usually of 4 main theories. There are many trait theories, and the only thing they have in common is that they base themselves in the traits that create the personality of an individual, but they gave different traits. That's what it's going to make them different. They give different characteristics, okay? It's not bad, it's not wrong, it's just different ways of seeing the same thing. And I'm going to tell you why it is important to understand this. As I already said, the survey that we're going to take, that we're going to do for homework, or if we have time, we should do it here together. It's still very similar to many of those surveys human resources department and companies still run to try to see if you're a good fit for a certain position. Raise your hand if you have applied for a job in which you have been taking a questionnaire that maybe tried to find your personality traits. Raise your digital hand or give me a thumbs up. There. Okay, Rose, okay, good. Sophie, you have. Camila, you have. Okay, very good. So there's a reason why. Because most human resources department believe that if they can find these are the traits of this candidate and these are the traits of this candidate, based on the results, which of these 2 candidates can perform these activities better in a more effective way? So again, I believe it's not about saying it's bad or it's wrong, but it's helping us analyze people, leaders, and the most important, guys, it's going to help analyze ourselves. Because many of these characteristics, we already have those. So I understand this characteristic made a leader-specific assignment. Yes, Sophie, you're absolutely right. Different assignments require different characteristics, right? Different personalities. It's not the same type of personality that I will need for a chemistry researcher, you know, who I need to be very analytical and very detailed oriented and not so much maybe social if he's going to be working in a lab, as if I have somebody who's going to take a job in customer service, right? It is not about, I know. So it's very different. So let's talk about this before we take a 10-minute break. Also known as a Big 5 personality trait, this agree with mostly how conscious the person is, okay? And I will explain this in a minute. The extraversion or introversion of the person, the how neurotic this person is. And I'm also going to explain the word neurotic because we usually think neurotic is something like a crazy person. No, I will explain this in a minute, okay? How open this person is to new experiences, which is also named intellect. And wait, I'm missing someone. I'm missing one. Oh, agreeableness. how easy is this person to agree or to come to an agreement when he's put in a situation in which he has to agree or disagree. So anyway, where you rank on each of the 5 metrics combines your personality. So what he used to say, and I'm not gonna get very deep into these guys because just for this trait, I could spend a whole week. It's very, very detailed. But openness, consciousness, extraversion or introversion, agreeableness, how neurotic okay, I don't know if you understand the word neurotic, not in a bit sense, and I see you're laughing, Russ. Why are you laughing? We used to think in the past a neurotic person was a crazy person. A neurotic person, I'm kind of neurotic, for example. I try this is the characteristic of a neurotic person, for example. Why? Because I get too stressed. I know. Because I get too stressed because I don't like being late. I'm always submitting my assignments on time. And why is this important for me? Well, if I'm a teacher, I need to have at least the most I can control of everything. But what's the negative part of being neurotic? That you are under stress all the time and you can't fall asleep because you're all the time thinking, did I do this? Did I do that? I know I was taught to be almost perfect. And that's why I'm in therapy, ladies and gentlemen, because I know it's not very sane, it's not very healthy. I don't recommend you to to grow into this neurotic part of your personality. However, there are certain jobs in which this personality trait it's perfect to do some jobs, so to perform some activities. I know. So that's being neurotic. Agree. How easy are you to find ways in which you connect to people who may be thinking differently to you? Some people get very stressed, and I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm never going to agree with you. And some people say, yeah, whatever you say, I agree. No, those two extremes are not very good. We need to find something in between. Extraversion and introversion. Now you're going to find this very, very funny. I am an extroverted introvert. I'm going to tell you why. I know. I love being here on my own, reading my own books, taking my own notes, but I also love when I connect with my students. It's almost like, and Mr. Jenkins is the same because I was in his class yesterday. I was a guest in his classroom. We transform when we're in a classroom. When we're teaching, it's like, but once we stop teaching, we become bookworms. We're the most boring people in the world. We're just reading, we're just researching. He's on one side of the table, I'm on this side. We hardly talk to each other. Like, how are you, honey? Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, are you okay? Okay, yeah. And I know, believe it or not, we do have friends, but sometimes we force ourselves to go out with our friends. I say, no, you know what, Mr. Jenkins, we have to go. Even if we're too lazy or it's too late, I know, we have to go. Let's go have some beers with our friends. We need to get out. But it's not in our nature anymore to be social. And this is something that I'm going to talk to you about when we analyze the rest of the other theories. Because I am more, and Christopher, you're going to understand this because you wrote about this in your assignment, into the contingency model, which means you adapt to the situation. And there's also another theory that we're going to talk about next week, in which means in different parts of your life, you grow into different personalities. I know, it makes sense, right? Anyway, consciousness, how conscious and aware you are. Openness too. There are a lot of cultural factors that make us more open, but some of us more close, into what we're thinking, and it's difficult for us to share. So are these 5 main personality traits broadly understood? Yes, you don't need to become experts, just understanding. And as I already said, we're going to have an assignment today, and if we have time, we're going to do it together. It's time for a break. Let's take 10 minutes, okay? And when we come back, I know we're going to talk about the wonderful trait theories of Gordon Albert, okay? See you in 10 minutes. Bye-bye. ready to continue, and hopefully we're going to finish with theory 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to give you about 6 to 7 minutes to watch a YouTube video that summarizes and comprises what these trait theories have in common. Okay, and you're going to also take some notes about this video. I'm going to give you the link because remember, sometimes we cannot watch it together. I'll give you the link so you can watch it on your cell phones, and then we're going to come back and then we're going to have a discussion. Okay, very good. So let's go to Gordon Allport. This is the second the second trait theory. And again, it's based just on traits different people have. And what he did, he divided everything in building blocks. And he divided this. This took place in 1937. Actually, they're not in chronological way, but more in order of importance, how more important one is over the other. As I already told you, most of these people were researching the same thing at the same time, but we didn't have internet, so they didn't know they were actually researching kind of the same, but they found different ways to classify these traits. So the way in which Gordon Allport classified this, he was a psychologist. He said the cardinal defining traits, and they have to do with like narcissism, humility, etc. In the video, you're going to see some in a minute. Then he talked about central traits, and these are common behavior patterns like perfectionism, impulsivity. Again, as I told you, he was a psychologist, so he gave his own vision and perspective on how to divide these traits. And finally, he called in secondary traits these incidental behaviors. And I think this is important, guys, because you know why? Incidental behaviors are those ones that you really don't have, but in certain circumstances, you show it. For example, he tells you like a person who is very patient, but he's stuck in traffic, sometimes he will turn impatient, right? So that is secondary trait according to this Gordon Allport's trait theory. But why is this important? Because he actually identified 1,000. Can you imagine? 1,000 personality traits. And in this 1,000 types of different traits in people, he divided it in these 3 sections. I'm not going to give you the 1,000, don't worry, that's too crazy. But it's just for you to know why different people have different ways to classify things. Because again, the reality was different, times were different, and also their background was different. So in this case, these were the traits Gordon Allport said made a person. I'm going to go to the next one. Now I'm going to stop here a little bit more. Be patient because I know it can get confusing because many of these theories talk sometimes about the same traits. That's why they're called traits. And in the video that we're going to watch in about 10 minutes, when I finish with this, hopefully you will see what they all have in common. Okay, very good. Now we have Hans Eynsek, 3 dimensions of personalities. And this is the same year, 1947, as you can tell. What was happening? Second World War. So I always try to be empathic and try to understand what were these people thinking of when they were creating this, you know? So he described 3 main personality dimensions. That's how we call them. Introversion versus extroversion. That's one dimension. The other dimension he talked about was neurotic, being neurotic against emotional stability. And the other dimension he said, and I'm going to tell you why he added this, your level of psychotism. Now I'm going to tell you this. This is funny. Well, it shouldn't be funny because he developed this theory by analyzing criminals in prison from jail. But he tried to identify what the leaders in prisons, the leaders in jails, what they had in common. So if you can see in the first little chart we have here, we have 2 axes. Do you see that? An X and a Y axis. One says neuroticism versus instability. Yes, on the Y axis. And then on the X axis, we have introversion and extroversion. Do you see that in the chart? Can you see it? And then we have the Y axis, which gives a different dimension. And that's how psychotic a person can become. And he actually said, if you can see in the little chart, for example, if you go between introversion and instability, some of the characteristics and traits of that person talk about a person who's peaceful, who is thoughtful, who is reliable and calm. And as I already told you, it's not bad or wrong or better or you know, it's about what type of people with those type of characteristics can be a fit for for performing certain functions, perhaps. If you see, for example, neuroticism and introversion, how anxious, rigid, quiet, reserved, or moody a person can be. If you see the neuroticism and the extroversion, how aggressive, excitable, restless, optimistic, and active a person can be. And finally, the extroversion and stability, outgoing, sociable, carefree, and talkative. But the psychotism actually talks about, and he actually puts it like in a y-axis, because he says that even those traits can change to an extreme, showing how much of a psychotism a person can show. Again, this is a psychologist again, and this was done with criminals. I know, but at least, it's one way to see traits. And finally, the last dimension we're going to talk about before we watch our video. Raymond Cattell. This was 1949. Again, it was almost at the same time, actually, than the previous one. But as I told you, they were not connected. They didn't know. They were developing theories that were kind of similar. And he actually talked about 16 factors, okay? And you can see them there. I'm not going to analyze all of them because it's like if I present you the 1,000 traits the other person developed, it's just too much. What is important, though, is to understand why they came up with these ideas. Raymond Cattell set out to discern how an individual personality type formed based on 16 different traits. So he said a person is different depending on how these 16 traits, what is the percentage of these traits this person presents. Cattell asked people to self-report information on a questionnaire, and he designed to help him, and this actually helped him to design their own personalities and what their personalities were. So these are it's a very quick summary of the four main traits theories. Now, as I was telling you, what is important to take from this analysis of the trait theories, that even nowadays, human resources companies and businesses, they take some of these words, they have changed the words, but they're the same. For example, here, one of the most widely researched and extensively used psychometric tool is the Trait Personality Survey. And they call them is the 16 personality factors. Assess your personality against 16 key traits. And these are some of the factors, some of you actually just mentioned that you have done some of these surveys when you're going to start a new job, perhaps. And it's one way in human resources, they know if you have the characteristics for what it takes. To recap, and before I send you to watch the video, a personality trait then, it's a word which is used to describe a certain feature of someone's personality. Okay, like a characteristic, specific characteristic, and I will say a combination of different traits that makes her personality based on this theory. Based on this theory. I don't want to encasillar, I don't want to tag you. I don't want you to tag yourself also, because even when we're going to do this survey online, it's not for us to tag ourselves and put like a tag to ourselves, but it's trying to learn more about ourselves, about who we are, okay? And as one saying says, the more we know about each other, the closer we are to understanding ourselves too. So that's the reason why we're going to be doing this survey together, okay? So are you ready? Now, these are some of the main divisions our trait theories of leadership talk about. They divide some of these traits into psychological, if we can put them together, some of them socioeconomical characteristics, some of their personality, some of them intellectual traits, some of them, task-related traits, and some of them social. But this is just one way in which people have put all these characteristics together. Now, I'm going to stop sharing because in the chat, I'm going to share with you the link to the video that I would like you to go ahead and watch. I'm going to give you, there's the link, okay? Either if you can open it, I'm going to try to open it here in the visor, but remember, sometimes it doesn't work, but I'm going to try. And I'm going to give you a few minutes. I'm going to start sharing. And I'm going to try to do it in our multimedia advisor. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see if it does work. Sometimes it does. And if not, don't worry. It's 8:12 and it takes about 6 to 10 minutes. I'm going to give you 6 to 8 minutes. So let's meet again. I'm going to give you a few minutes to watch the video on your own. Sorry. Okay, quiet. But sometimes you can hear it, sometimes you can't. So I'd rather you watch it on your own. Let's meet again here at 8:20 to finish today's class with a very slight discussion. Now, let me tell you what the video is about. The video is going to talk very briefly about the grain mind theory, and then he's going to summarize from all the different traits theories. These are the main traits they all agree on. And I would like you to take notes of those traits. One of the first ones, I think it's intelligence, if I remember well. So they say great leaders are intelligent. In my opinion, that's too subjective, but we'll talk about it when you come back from the video, okay? So let's take 8 minutes, go watch the video, and be ready to share when you come back, okay? I'm gonna be here. You can turn off your cameras if you want. I just need to make sure that you really watch the video. Thank you. I'll be here. Okay, guys, are you finished? Give you 1 more minute. Okay, guys, while you're finishing to watch the video, I chose this video because it's actually a very good way to wrap up and summarize a topic that is too wide. And as you were able to see, the presenter talks about five, right? Five main traits. But I really like the fact that he also talks about the criticism of these theories, because that's the wonderful thing about talking about theories. Again, we can it's not about agreeing or disagreeing, but saying, you know what, a critique is it doesn't have enough proof, or as he said, some people talk more about behaviors more than traits, correct? So what we're going to do, we're going to have a very quick discussion. Sorry, as I usually do, I'm going to ask you, actually, if you don't want to go into groups, because sometimes that takes too much, maybe it's just better to share here your ideas. What do you think? Because again, this is such a broad topic. There's so many things to do. And Michelle, thank you for your suggestion. You actually went ahead because that's the assignment. The assignment we have for today, you're actually going to take a Myers-Briggs type indicator personality test online. So thank you. But don't worry, I'll explain that in a minute. Okay. Let's more talk right now about your general ideas. We still have many other theories to talk about, remember? This is just the beginning, just the beginning. So in order for you to share your thoughts and ideas, I thought also of giving you my personal critique, but this is personal. This has nothing to do with any theory. And Diana, I think you know this image is one of my favorite images in the world, because my personal belief, philosophy, and focus, even when I research, I am more into a systems approach in which everything is connected. And it's very difficult for me sometimes to present topics that are isolated when actually everything is connected. I am more into the fact that from all the different theories that we talk about, I think all of them are right, depending on the context, the environment, and the circumstances. That is my personal belief. I believe all these topics are multidimensional, not only X, Y, and X, Y, and Z, but even more like a multiverse situation in which, depending on the circumstances, these things may work or not. So it's time for a reflection and for sharing, because today we're finishing, and I apologize, this was so quick, but again, it's just one class. I still need to talk about the behavioral and situational theories, because we're just trying to analyze how we can understand leadership from a theoretical perspective, so that in the second part, when we talk about managerial strategies, tools, and how to influence our teams, how to motivate teams, how to motivate people. And on the last academic period, we talk about cultural differences. You see all the different multi-dimensions that are linked here. So this is just one little part. So I would like to know right now what you're thinking. And you can say, I'm confused. And even in the video, he said, this is confusing. I know, he said it, right? I know. And sorry, Rose, that your microphone wasn't working. And I apologize, I never came back to you, Rose in Brazil, because you wanted to share something at the beginning of the class. So if your microphone is working, would you like to share, Rose in Brazil?
No.
Yes, just speak louder, please.
Okay, let's check here the mic. Can you hear? Is it better now?
Much better. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so when you were talking about the last class assignment, I did a separate file with all my comments about. So I choose them because I understood I should understand them to make to did the and so on. I don't know how to put everything together. So
Don't worry, you could
I do it, but I
don't worry, don't worry.
Okay, I have a reason why I choose it.
I understand. I understand. Don't worry, because what I was actually going to tell you guys is let's begin from zero. So far, again, everybody's getting 100 from the past weeks, okay? As we say in Mexico, I'm going to translate it in a minute. In Mexico, we say borrón y cuenta nueva, which means let's erase it and let's start again from zero. So don't worry, okay? Don't worry. We're learning. Don't worry, okay? But now let's reflect about the video. What would you like to share? I would like to hear what you have to say. And I'm going to go to Sophie Torres in a minute. So go ahead, Rose.
You? Yes.
What about the class in general? Whatever your thoughts are in general.
Oh, okay, okay. So it's very interesting about the traits. Traits. How to pronounce?
Traits is correct. Traits.
Traits. Okay. So I had the experience to work with a company that everybody who wants to apply for a job, the person should make answer a lot of questions. Fit the company, the cultural fit of the company, something like that. And it was interesting because we could check the personality, all the results of the answers. But the problem is that the company did only one cultural fit. So that's the cultural fit of the company. And then when we look at the candidates, most of them did not fit with the company. But the problem was not the company. The problem is that we should find someone that fit with our job, with our department, with the job we are going to do. So that was a problem. I think that it should be separated, okay? So this department has this cultural fit, that department has that cultural fit, and not one for the company, okay? So I think it's very good. It's a very good tool. So it depends on how do you analyze the results.
I also believe, as I shared, that because this is a whole multidimensional concept, sorry, if you only take that in consideration, you're losing many opportunities to actually find people who can be better or wonderful for a certain fit. But I do agree with you. Very good. I think, Sophie, you were raising your hand, and then I'm going to ask Christopher because you had already read about this. So I'm so sorry, Christopher, but I'll go to Sophie first, and then I'll go to Christopher. Yes, Sophie.
Thank you. I believe that there was like somehow a square perception of what leadership was before, and I think it's not about being like in control of everything and doing it in the traditional ways all the time, but I believe it works. It does work for some things, but it doesn't has to be like that all the time.
Actually, Sophie, I'm so glad again. That should be most of our conclusions so far, because when we talk next week about how it evolved, the theories evolve into situational and contingency leaderships, you're going to be like, okay, this is making more sense. And still, they're not perfect. Every theory has a criticism, has one part to be criticized. And the beauty of this is right now, as we speak, new theories of leadership are being developed right now. Actually, I want to write a paper about this. There's going to be an international convention in London in June that I'm writing a paper on, because actually I wrote a chapter for a textbook here in Canada about international human resources. And for me, it's very important to share not only with my students, but also with employees who I'm going to be training very soon. Yes, this schemes give us some ideas, but we cannot be so strict and rigid. Again, I believe more in a systematic way in which everything is important, and we cannot just talk about one thing. Not even the theories we're going to talk about next week. They were a great advancement, but we have to go beyond. We have to go beyond. So yes, I do agree with you. But again, I'm so glad you're realizing that. Anyone else would like to share either about the video or about some of the topics which we talk about today? I'm going to go to Christopher, and then you can raise your hands if you want to participate. Go ahead, Christopher.
Yeah,
Are you doing better? Because I knew you were sick. Are you feeling better?
yeah, I feel better. Thank you.
Very happy. Don't worry. You're fine. You're fine. You're
Thank you
fine.
so much.
What did you think about today's class? Because maybe you
Uh,
already read about it.
yeah, I grew about it because when I searched about the homework, the first things that I found was uh all about what you say today. But for me, I think it's a good idea to have that knowledge about the leadership through history. And I think every chapter in the history has a lot of pros and cons. But right now, I think that, as you say, we can go beyond just if we want and if we have an open mind that for all of us, I think it's easier because our generation has like the perspective really different, I think. And sometimes for us, it's easier. And about the video that we saw, I wrote the K leadership traits, and I really love the examples that the man said. For example, the first one about the intelligence, about Steve Jobs, and all the things that he made for the global economy and all of that. About the self-confidence of Barack Obama, I think it's amazing too. And the determination that he said about Oprah and the poverty that she had during her childhood, that was amazing too. Or also the integrity by Martin Luther King. He, I think he is one of my favorite ones. Also with the number five of sociability with Princess Diana, that I say that I don't remember which class, but I say that she is an example for me of leadership right now in this century.
I totally agree. That's why I chose that video for you, because I knew that was going to like close the whole thing, right? Very good. Anyone else would like to participate? One more. We have time for one more, and then I'm going to explain the assignment. I need to take enough time to make sure that everybody understands the assignment for the weekend. Anyone else? No, don't worry, because you'll have time to actually share in your reflective essay this weekend. Okay, so I hope you took notes. Okay, and now if everything is okay, I'm going to go then into explaining what we're going to be doing for assignment. Okay, I'm going to give you 1 minute to read first, and then I'm going to explain, and then you can raise your hands, okay? Read first. Oops, sorry. There you go. Oh, so sorry. Gosh. Okay, I'm going to explain now. You read my mind, you see? Like the killers. Can you read my mind? You kind of read my mind because we're going to actually, I know many of you have already taken some of these surveys applying for a job. And if you still haven't, you will, because now applying for jobs is getting very crazy. And now they not only make you answer one survey, sometimes you have to answer 3, 4, or 5. Okay, so let's get used to it. And the objective, the learning objective, guys, is to get to know ourselves a little bit better. If you take the time, 20 to 25 minutes, and you sit down without being distracted or anything, you're honest, read the instructions well before you click. Because I'm gonna tell you, I made a mistake the first time I made this survey, and I assumed that the first option was 0 and the last option was 5 the most, and I think it's the other way around. So make sure you read carefully before you click and submit and you answer. Be as honest as you can. I promise I will not share your results with anyone, and this is confidential information. The only reason why I may want to see some of the screenshots is because I want to see the connection in your one reflective personal reflection essay. I'm calling it an essay, but it can be a personal reflection page, personal reflection, whatever you want to call it. It's about the results you obtain. And do you think those traits make you a leader? Try to compare some of them, even with some of the video. The video talk about intelligence, self-confidence, determination, integrity, and sociability. Some of the questions are going to ask that, but some of the questions are going to ask about something else. But it's one way to get to know ourselves a little bit better. I hope you can give some real examples or situations in which you have showed some of those personality traits that you get in the results. Let me give you my example. I got advocate. Now that doesn't mean avocado because it sounds like avocado is not an avocado, okay? Advocate personality is actually somebody, it says there, treat people as they were, help them to become what they are capable of being. So when I read that, I said, yes, that's me. I like helping people becoming the best they can become. So it did match a little bit. So you have until Saturday to upload now I'm going to share, let me stop sharing this. I'm going to share now our virtual classroom, because everything, if you go to our virtual classroom right now, everything should be already there. If you go to week 4, let me just make sure it's there. Yes, it's there. Week 4. Yeah. Let me show you. Let me share this with you. Just want to make sure we are all on the same. Okay. Can you see Una Synchronic week 4? Got it? So it says no class because on Monday we didn't have a class. It's February 8th. Okay, very good. Thank you, Christopher. So you have the PowerPoint presentation. Then you have your assignment, the class notes. You can do that right away, so you don't have to worry about it. And then reflective essay, my personality traits, based on this test. Now, this test is just an online example. I try to get a screenshot of all the results because it tells you, do you want us to send you the results? Don't do that because they're going to keep sending you emails to your email. So don't do that. Just take screenshots of your results. Unless you really want the results, then you can log in and register yourself, but you don't have to. And Also, there's a link to the video in case you want to watch it again. Okay, but I thought it was very self-explanatory and it didn't need any more explanation. So everything is here. Now, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go back again to our presentation. And now I ask you, do you have questions about the assignment? It's time to ask yes, no. Is it clear? Remember, reflective. I need to see that you are doing this. It has your personal touch, one personal experience maybe. Yes, is this clear? Yep, give me a thumbs up. It was clear. Very good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was clear. Very good, very good. Wonderful. Okay, so if we don't have anything else to say, those are the references. I hope you remember that. And I forgot again, I think I wanted to share a very nice quote with you today, but I forgot to, let me see if I can find it. Hold on, give me a minute because it was very nice. And I always share very nice things with you guys. I think this was it. Now, don't take it, I apologize because sometimes I share the same thing with the same class and I apologize for that. So I hope I'm not sharing the same thing with the same class. And this is the one. I don't know if you can you see it? Can you see it? No? Okay, let me see if you can see it now. Okay, I think this is it. But then again, I apologize if I already shared this with you. This is the last. Every time, your direction is more important than your speed. I don't know if I had already shared that with you. I hope not with this class and with the other class, because sometimes I told the other class last Saturday, remember guys, when I told you, the teacher, you never told us that. Oh, yes, I did. You did not. And then I remember it wasn't them, it was you guys. So I'm sorry. And I apologize because imagine I only have 2 groups. Imagine next term when I have 3 or 4 groups, it's gonna get crazy. So you guys, your direction is more important than your speed. Keep going, little step, baby steps. But once you take that step, there's no way back. I'm very proud of you. Focus and see you next Monday. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Love you too. And may the force be with you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, teacher.
Bye, guys. Very
Yeah,
happy to see you. Thank you for being so patient. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
bye.
Bye-bye.